How long do you think Bitcoin would be trading at $38,000 if half the people wanted to sell their Bitcoin right now?
It would for like a minute. The minute half the people want to sell it, then it drops.
How much? What does it
I don't
drop
know.
to?
To some ridiculously low amount. If half the people want to sell it, it would be a negative very quickly.
People would lose faith in the underlying value of it. That wouldn't happen to Apple because people would go, wait a second here. Apple is a company that makes billions of dollars every single quarter. Like,
Adam,
what's going on here? Someone would
Adam.
step in.
Adam, that literally happened in 2008 to these gigantic banks that all had physical underlying assets that people believed in until they didn't.
Think about what the asset was. It was mortgage-backed securities.
Right. Yeah, but
People realized that the underlying asset was valueless. That's what happened.
okay, you're right. That's a bad example.
Yeah, it's a hugely bad example. The thing that the coin people don't take into account is desirability. Like, it's not just scarcity. It's also desirability. It's scarcity plus desirability.
Okay.
Like, people have to desire the thing.
Right.
And right now
Right.
they definitely desire the thing because they think it's going to be worth more. As soon as they think this is not going to be worth more, this is going to be worth less, the desirability drops to zero and the demand drops to zero.
Sword and Scale for $20 says focusing on fraud cases in crypto is like saying we should abolish the US dollar because of Bernie Madoff exists. The utility of programmable money is what makes it useful and also what makes it susceptible to fraud. Well, there you go.
I get the argument, but
Right.
I just the cost benefit for most people is that they're more concerned about losing their life savings than they are about losing their privacy. If you say, listen,
Right.
we're either going to be able to track your money, and if it disappears into some fraudster's account, you're not going to lose any of it. We'll give it all back to you, or we won't look at your money at all.
Well,
and if it disappears,
right.
you're on your own. And most people in that case will take the loss of privacy, right?
Right, but and I think the counter to that, people who don't want that, is to say, well, listen, if you're concerned about security, and I'm more concerned about privacy, then don't invest in crypto. You can invest in anything else you want. Why do you have to come into our space, in our realm, and change the rules to the way you want them? Like, that'd be the counter argument,
right?
Which I understand is valid. So, I think what has to happen is the crypto people. I mean, obviously, I don't know who makes these decisions. The crypto community as a whole has to make a decision when they say, listen, are we more interested in becoming bigger and more mainstream? Because if we do become bigger and more mainstream, we will have to capitulate and eventually have regulations to what you're talking about, Adam, because the average normie, the average person will trade privacy for security most of the time in most situations. And so that's what they'll be looking for. Or are they fine with being more like the niche thing off, that's kind of like, doing its own thing that's not super popular. That's popular enough, but not super popular. Like it's its own little circle somewhere.
But
then they can do whatever they want.
The thing though, that becomes a problem is the niche thing is like becomes as big as mortgage-backed securities. And that's what's happening. That's what that's why they're talking about regulating it. It's like, okay, well, now this having a tangible effect on the economy.
Right. That's the problem and that's a different issue too, because if all the big banks are getting involved in it and then they end up fucking up the entire economy with it, then
listen, if you
then they are going to have to do something about it because unfortunately, or you just tell the banks not to be involved. I don't know.
You can't because people are using crypto as collateral for actual dollars. That's what's happening.
Right.
They're taking out loans and using the crypto as collateral. So there's a bunch of bank loans.
Instead of regulating crypto, you could just say banks can't do that anymore,
well, they've talked about they were talking about that in the hearings, making it so you can't use crypto as collateral on loans. But then, Sword and Scale, there's going to be another $20 super chat. Don't! How dare you say that I can't use my crypto as a collateral in a private exchange with a bank for a loan, right? I mean,
that's the problem.
That is government encroachment,
right? But you have to make you have to make a compromise here, or either you can't do that, or if you can do that, then you're gonna have to accept regulations.
Right. Well, that's the compromise.
Yeah, that's the issue. You have
right
to, yeah, you have to choose. You can't live in both worlds. You can't have your cake and eat it too, as they say. Ostrici for $10 says, I'm late to this conversation, but I own some crypto. Most shocking part is interest rates. Current USDC stablecoin offers 9% annual interest. They have paid it to me every month so far. Well, good. There you go.
That's just screams like
scam.
It does.
9% interest rate.
I see this all the time. Listen, I watch the crypto vids, so I get the crypto ads all the time, and they all scream Ponzi scheme. They all scream scam. 9% interest on crypto. I'm old school. Where is the value coming from? Where is the value coming from? Okay.
I mean, Adam, if you think about it, most investments they're all scams. Okay.
I disagree.
When you buy stock, you're not buying something that's real.
Sitch, don't make me beat you.
I'm gonna do it. Because only the first person that buys the original stock is actually giving money to the company and buying like the real thing. Everything else is just trading this amorphous idea of property around doesn't really affect the company directly.
Tell it like it is, Sitch. There is an underlying value to stock. It's based on future earnings, and those earnings reports come out every 3 months, quarterly. They hit or miss. But everybody in the private industry knows the game. But
that's not 100% accurate, because it's not like future earnings directly correlate to stock prices. No, stock prices are only correlated to how much people want to buy the stock. So yes, some people will base that off of future earnings, but they also base it off of a million other different factors.
No, I agree, but you're comparing that to something that has no underlying asset, zero underlying asset.
I'm saying it has the same asset. It has the same asset is people want to buy it.
No. Listen.
No.
People there, and we talked about this earlier.
Yes.
Yes. All prices driven by supply and demand. The reason people want to buy stock is because they believe that the future earnings are there, which is a tangible value. The reason why people want to buy crypto is because they think the value of the crypto will be worth more in the future because crypto is the future, and like there's no underlying value there. There's no underlying tangible value there.
No one buys stocks saying like, oh, I'm buying stocks because of the future earnings of this company. They're buying stock because they're like, the stock's going to go up. That's the primary thought process.
Or they're going to get dividends, and those dividends are based on
or they're going to get
future earnings. Yeah,
sure.
Does crypto? Sure. Oh, evidently this crypto gives 9% dividends. Like, okay. Where? I mean, and people have talked about this. Let's say everybody owns Bitcoin. Bitcoin's, what is Bitcoin at right now? Let's look it up just to be.
I don't know. I'm not convinced so far.
Well, we're watching. As of right now, Bitcoin is trading at $38,000 a Bitcoin. $38,400 a Bitcoin. Okay.
Well, no, the underlying value to the paper.
How long no, I have a question for you.
Yeah. Okay.
How long do you think Bitcoin will be trading at $38,000 if half the people wanted to sell their Bitcoin right now, or by the end of the week?
It would for like a minute.
What do you mean?
The minute half the people want to sell it, then it drops.
How much? What does it drop to?
To some ridiculously low amount. If half the people want to sell it, it would be fucking negative very quickly.
Right. And why would that happen?
I don't know, because there's some kind of panic, some run on the market.
Well, people would lose faith in the underlying value of it. That wouldn't happen to Apple, because people would go, wait a second here. Apple is a fucking company that makes billions of dollars every single quarter. Like, Adam, what's going on here? Someone would step in.
Adam, that literally happened in 2008 to these gigantic banks that all had physical underlying assets that people believed in until they didn't.
Think about what the asset was. It was mortgage-backed securities.
Right. Yeah, but
people realized that the underlying asset was valueless. That's what happened.
Okay, you're right. That's a bad example.
Yeah, it's a hugely bad example.
Well, no, but the problem is that all these other industries were banking on the banks that were banking on the toxic underlying asset. So it had a chain effect.
This is a conversation that I always have with the Bitcoin people. What is the underlying asset? What am I buying? What am I getting for my money? What is the value?
I don't see the difference between this and stock. Okay.
This is another
let me ask you
one.
a question.
This is another
Adam,
one of those insane conversations.
No,
I can't believe we're even.
Let me ask you a question. Mm-hmm. Maybe this will elucidate some things. Okay. Is there a difference when you talk about the underlying asset? Yes. Is there a difference between gold and Bitcoin?
Yes, a giant difference.
Okay, and what's the difference?
Gold is a tangible asset.
It's a physical gold chunk, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Why does the gold asset have any value?
Because you believe that someone will want that gold for something in the future.
Okay. Right, exactly. So how is that literally any different than Bitcoin or any other crypto? It's the same principle.
Yes, but what I tried to illustrate with my example is that can flip in a moment's notice in a way that it's not going to flip with gold.
Right. So is the only difference because gold has been around long enough that flip will probably never happen because it's been so ingratiated in our culture and in our minds as having value?
Yes.
Is that the only difference?
Yes.
Okay. I mean, you're right. That's true that is a difference. But
also, gold can be used for there's all kinds of uses for gold. Like there's no use for Bitcoin.
Not to the extent of its value, obviously. But.
Hold on. Let me bring up a picture of Mr. T. Gold can be used for jewelry, you dumbass. What are you talking about?
Yeah, but gold is only used in jewelry because of its perceived value. That's entirely a social construct. Okay.
Not only that, I mean, I just read a book about a guy
who doesn't rust.
I just read a book about a guy who built a company basically from scratch.
Sauron can't make the ring out of a Bitcoin. I think I have to concede to that argument.
So you don't think you don't see any underlying value in what McDonald's does?
No, of course I do. What do you mean? I'm just saying I don't think when you talk about stocks, I don't. There's very little in my mind between a stock and cryptocurrency. Except for a couple of very flimsy psychological constructs. Now, most people believe in these psychological constructs that you're talking about, Adam, including you, and so that does give it power. So maybe that means that I'm incorrect because people believe in this smoke and mirrors shit, and that's all that really matters.
The stock is not smoke and mirrors, though. The stock has an underlying asset.
Stock is completely smoke and mirrors, Adam.
This is just your bias. You're basically.
This isn't my bias. What do you mean?
This is exactly what's happening here. Sitch sees zero value in stock, so he sees.
No. Don't say.
And he sees zero value in crypto because he's basically saying. Well, you're basically saying there's no underlying asset to stock. That's exactly what you're saying.
There isn't.
You just said yes. Yeah, I understand.
I'm saying there isn't a real. I'm saying no. There is psychologically.
There is not.
There's nothing
wrong.
Real.
That's completely wrong.
Okay.
There are companies that own assets and things.
Uh-huh.
When a stock goes to zero, they sell off those assets.
That's true, but that's not what I'm getting at.
The stockholders are literally paid out of whatever they can get for the remaining assets of the company. Mm-hmm. So they're basically saying, okay, we thought this company was worth this much because they had a system to earn this much money in the environment.
I understand. Right.
And turns out they're not earning that much money. Really, the company's worth this much. Here are the trucks and all the tangible assets that we can sell off. We're going to divide those tangible assets up among the amount of stock that's out there and pay you off what the stock is really worth. Okay. But we're still talking about the worth of the underlying
right.
assets.
That's a good counter argument.
Right.
That yes.
What is the underlying asset of Bitcoin?
They will sell off and chop up the company to pay out for that stuff, which is true.
What is the underlying asset of Bitcoin? Tell me.
Right, and there's zero. There's nothing. Okay, but when people buy stocks, that's not generally the thought process. They're not like, oh well,
What? Listen, so this is
when I buy McDonald's is going to end up going out of business, and they're going to end up chopping up to sell off.
There's a conflation there.
Or whatever.
I love how Sitch and I interrupt the fuck out of each other whenever we start arguing. But there's a conflation issue that's going on here. Okay,
is there?
Yes, I am talking about sophisticated stock purchasers, and you are talking about people who just pick a stock and don't know anything about it and just buy it.
I'm talking about the normie. Oh, you're talking about investors? I'm talking about normies. Okay,
but in your experiment, you're basically saying that there are no sophisticated investors, that all investors are just dumb.
That's not my argument at all.
Okay, so what are you saying then?
My argument.
I don't want to straw man.
Okay. My argument was literally what you said back to me about gold.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. The conceptually, the only difference between the underlying value of gold and Bitcoins is that in our minds for thousands of years in human history, we assign gold this arbitrary value.
Not true. Not true.
What do you mean? You said this earlier.
Not true. You listen. You're thinking of this.
You're taking it back. What you said.
You're thinking of about this is so low resolution that Jordan Peterson would be very disappointed if he heard this argument. Okay, gold has a value today, right?
Yeah.
But that value could change.
I know.
They could invent something, a time machine that requires parts to be made out of gold, and then all of a sudden, what's the value of gold now? Well, now it's fucking priceless.
Yeah, so you're just arguing just something has to be physical because it can. Yeah,
listen,
but no one's
the value of Apple.
No one's buying
gold.
What
was the value of Apple before the iPhone?
No one's buying gold thinking that in the future it'll be worth more because someone needs it to make time machine parts. Okay,
yes, but it always is going to have some tangible use value. Like I'm just saying, jewelry is one tangible use value. Right. Time machines is another. We place different values on things.
Time machines are not a tangible value.
Well, I'm in the hypothetical experiment. It is, but the Bitcoin people, I always ask. I'm like, what is the underlying asset here? Right. People in Bitcoin make the same argument that you are making. They're saying, I'm buying this because it's going to be worth more in the future. People are going to want this more.
Does Sitch and Adam know how Bitcoins are created? I don't know about Adam. I only know, I thought that there's some weird algorithm that people run, and then the algorithm you run has a chance of producing a Bitcoin or something weird. That's all I know.
Right. Right now, people do want Bitcoin, okay?
Adam, a golden laden meteorite could hit the Earth, and
gold's value could drop to
100 times more gold than we ever had, and the price of gold would just drop to nothing.
Right. Guess what?
Right.
A Bitcoin meteor could hit the Earth, and no, that's not going to happen.
Yeah, I know. Okay, whatever. I feel like we've talked about this.
Bitcoin is based on scarcity, but I think the issue is. The thing that the coin people don't take into account is desirability. Like it's not just scarcity. It's also desirability. It's scarcity plus desirability.
Okay.
Like people have to desire the thing.
Right.
And right now they definitely desire the thing because they think it's going to be worth more. As soon as they think this is not going to be worth more, this is going to be worth less, the desirability drops to zero. And the demand drops to zero. Hi, you just listened to a clip from the Sitch and Adam show. If you like what you heard, you can listen to our live show right here on this channel on Sunday, starting at 1 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Eastern. And if you want, you can super chat us. We read $20 and up super chats on the show and then do a follow-up stream on the following Tuesday where we read the rest of the unread super chats and interact with fans of the show. Subscribe to this channel right here to listen to the live show or to listen to more of our awesome clips.